All right, so we're gonna try this again, shall we? Uh, Welcome to this Tuesday edition of the Blerd Podcast, where we normally stream Saturday, but the internet or the man was against us, so we couldn't do it on Saturday. But we are here
The difficulties.
on Tuesday to have this wonderful conversation of poverty profiteering. So, as I was trying to say on Saturday, how many of y'all are familiar with and one, like the street ballers?
Yeah,
So
familiar with it. Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
they had a they have a documentary on Netflix, and essentially two white guys um came up with this idea to because it was going up against Nike. So or they ended up going against Nike, but they took there was some street ballers in New York or they started in New York, and they didn't have the ability to get to the NBA because they was like flunking out of college or just didn't go to college or whatever the case may be, right? So they took these guys, they had this flair for the theatrics and dramatic crossovers and all that stuff, as I'm sure y'all know. So as the documentary is going on, as and one gains popularity, they became bigger than the NBA at one point, right? So they were saying that the more money they got, they was on contract, they was getting paid well considering. So but with the money that they was bringing in, it wasn't dishing it back out to the players. Like there wasn't, from what I understand, I don't quote me, there wasn't like a 401k. There wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So they literally making this money off of the backs of the people that was from low income neighborhoods, right? And the guy, I forget which one it was. He called it poverty pimping, which I prefer that. That's just more entertaining to say than poverty profiteering. But
I'd have to
Jock,
agree with that statement.
so Jock, what do you, so being that you was also, even though this is going to be a different podcast for another day, but you was with the profiteering as far as trauma. What are your thoughts on profiteering on people from the inner cities? Like companies coming in using them for XYZ and then not giving them back
Oh, so
appropriately.
that's straight up just like a global issue because on one hand there's doing that in the inner cities. So a lot of people see the inner cities, and we can get into that later, like prisons, as just like a source of free labor. But in general, you'll see this a lot with businesses where they take advantage of low income places in general. So we've all had the tech support guy that's from India in India, right? And like, being paid like super low wages. Well, that issue is you can find it about pretty much any field, right? So it's like if so I'm in the art field. If you go looking on sites like Fiverr, you'll find artists who will do hours, if not weeks worth of work for like $20.
Mm-hmm.
Like you will literally see people whose hourly rates are like dollars, like $1 or like three. And this is like some pretty like serious skill stuff. I mean, like one question I always have is like, how did they even afford their equipment? Because like the equipment cost is pretty universal. So it's like if you're getting paid $1 an hour, like how the fuck do you even like how do you have a computer? You know? And part of that, and also then like you have like the labor thing of like iPhones are built in like slave factories essentially. But to bring it back to the United States, um, it's just such a common business tactic. And it's one of those things where it's like there's one argument against it that I've heard, which is interesting. Um, is that like yes, we have like slave shops, like sorry, sweatshops, and yes, those people are not being paid a fair wage, but apparently it's still like having a wage is still better than no wage, and in a sense, like that actually does help them out, even though it's still not doing the right thing. And it's kind of like an interesting argument. It's kind of just like you're still fucked up, but like you're fucked up in one of the ways that like still has some benefit to them, to people, which like I kind of don't know how to feel about that because on one hand, like I do understand that like yeah, when you live somewhere where like the average wage is like less than $1 a day, and you're someone who's making like $2 or $3 a day, then like yeah, like that's gonna help you out considerably. But it's also just like you're just taking advantage of people who have less than you anyway. And like the argument it's beneficial is kind of just one of those weird arguments where it's like, I have to give it to you, but like you could do better. You know, like you see where I'm going with it. It's like just a weird argument, but yeah. So that's kind of where I stand on that. It's a global issue.
Alex, do you agree? Because I saw you nodding your head a few times.
As he talked more about it and I gave it some more thoughts, I realized I actually really don't have too much to add. It's a global issue. It happens everywhere. Everyone's always being undercut by somebody. Globalization has taken place to the point where it is bound to happen at a more rapid pace than ever before. And it's something that we're going to have to deal with. Outsourcing is a thing. Offshoring your jobs are a thing. Remote work is becoming more and more prevalent across the board. At this point, it's just something to embrace. You're not stopping it.
Not at all. It's nothing we can do.
No, it's not a damn thing you can do.
No, because you'll be fighting globalization. I mean, you'll be left behind.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be the same thing. I love bringing it up. Remember the samurai? Too prideful to invest in a gun? All right, that's cool.
Oh, yeah, you get blasted
out.
Yeah.
You got blasted out of history. Sorry, buddy. You didn't want to use that flintlock? You didn't want to adopt formations that other units use? You wanted to keep with the sword? Well, there goes your culture.
Yeah.
So, John,
and Dante to.
Oh no, go ahead.
To add to your question of like, can we do anything about it? It's like, it's almost worse than that. It's like this is completely out of the hands of the regular man, and there's arguments to say that it is inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This has to do with leverage mainly. If you're from a rich country, you can just afford to just pay these people very little. And when you're from a poor country, you're kind of more desperate for your wages.
Yeah.
Now, there are ways that you can flip this, right? So, for example, I've thought about doing this several times, of like moving to Thailand and just literally living as if I made like almost 10 times more than I make, because like the cost of living there is so much cheaper. Like I live in Miami. It's like one of the most expensive places ever. And anytime I do the math, I'm just like, huh?
I say if not the most expensive.
Los Angeles is. And Los Angeles and was it Dubai? I forget the one with like the crazy towers and all that. Dubai, yeah.
Right. But people already do that, job. The biggest thing that's actually happening is that a lot of people who are native to California, Arizona, and Texas, they actually during the pandemic decided to move to live on the border of Mexico. So they're living in Mexico. But now the Mexican residents are like, hey, go back to your country, because now what's happening is they're raising the property values and rates of places because they're bringing in so much money because they're still being paid in USD, while all the residents there in Mexico are still being paid in, I want to say pesos, but I don't know what the currency still is now. I don't think it still is pesos. Okay. So yeah, they're being paid in that. So obviously there's a huge discrepancy. So there's people who've had chain businesses, restaurants, things in the family on certain blocks and they can't afford it. So they get gutted out. And then when these Americans come in, they start building up their entire infrastructure. So eventually, obviously, the place will slowly grow. South Park did a perfect episode of it about Colorado and there's another Denver. So like all the people in Denver moved into South Park, and suddenly South Park became this hotbed of like all these people, celebrities and things like that. They trashed all the streets, everything got destroyed. The innocence, it got built up like it was in New York in one day, and then within the week they all left. But guess what? All that construction, all the trash, all the rubble, all that's still there, and the people who are native have to deal with it because they don't have the funds to leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say back to we are kind of the lucky ones when it comes to it, because we can still move along the way. There's ways we can move up in some bad ways and good ways. I mean, Dante plays Sims. He knows sling that dope. You can make it real hard. It's just that we have the freedom to move up and do it. But I feel sorry for the other people because they can't really. They're kind of just stuck. Like it's either like in my wife's case, it was either like she just stays over in Kuwait, or she gets married to an American and hopefully leaves the fucking country. And that's literally the two options they got.
So basically, it's like if you become a victim to it, or you just have the means to get get about that situation, so you won't be
Yeah.
taken advantage of. And like,
Yeah.
and I imagine, like, 'cause I know of the like Nike sweatshops in China or something like that. It was
Actually, wow.
yeah. So like, I remember it was a controversy about that recently, and it's like when you look at it, like, well, it's pretty much known, but like people are really being taken advantage of, and that's the wildest shit. Like, and nothing is being done or said. Well, something being said, but no one's really making a move. But like I said, nothing can be done.
It's the convenience factor,
they
man.
trying to live, so it's like
It's bite the hand that feeds them, kind of. If they try to.
The problem is, say, okay, we fix this. Like, okay, no more sweatshops in China, blah, 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 blah. Well, you just, like, put maybe, I don't know, hundreds of people out of work, and now they're just laying around somewhere. They're like, okay, you helped us fix this, so how are you going to help us get even further, hopefully? It's like, oh, we just want to stop it. That was it. And like Alex is saying, South Park, oh, we just want to start it and just left. And just
This is the entire issue what people have with America going into so many different countries, and sometimes it may be for the quote unquote like good reason. Like, let's say you do want to help out, let's say one of these third world countries. You're like, great, I'm going to provide X, Y, Z. Well, you just destabilize the entire nation because overnight they suddenly grew into X, Y, Z power, X, Y, Z technology, and you don't know how these people are going to handle it. And you create these vacuums of power that people are always trying to take over and always trying to use. So in a sense, it's like on one end, you want to help out these places in order to do the quote unquote right thing, but it's not your country, it's not your place. So in a sense, like people could see that as you taking over and taking control and taking power over those areas, which has happened throughout history, especially with America. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because I was having the conversation when I was over at Milano's place with one of his buddies. And I was telling him about what I thought was going to be a very interesting thing we get to witness. Because I don't know how you're going to diplomacy out of this. South America being one of the hubs of like many, many precious resources of the world, but most notably the Amazon rainforest. There are reports saying that if the Amazon rainforest gets cut down, like completely gone, pretty much all people are dead. Like we're dead because all the carbon that it sucks up out of the atmosphere, it's now not getting sucked up. Those trees are vital to the survival of humans on planet Earth. But how can you tell people who are in those countries you can't cut down your own trees? How do you have that conversation? Because then it'd be like the world being like, hey, you can't use your own resources. And they're like, fuck off. You've been drilling and doing all this other shit for thousands of years. You're going to tell me what I can't do with the trees? And they're like, you're going to kill us all. You're like, well, fuck you. It's my trees. You can't tell me what to do with my resources.
Yep.
So, like,
I'm going to take my ball and go home.
Yeah. So, like, how do you actually go through that process? And that's just on more of a mass scale, obviously, with different countries. But I'm very interested to see what diplomacy is going to look like for that. Of being like, hey, you guys can't do this. And they're like, please.
I mean, the obvious answer would just be like a maintenance tariff, like, maybe like the UN pays it. That would be like probably like the I'm gonna say diplomatic answer to that, right? But like at the same time, like people are gonna be greedy. They might even try to take it by force. They might try to just enact, right, some sanction, right? They're like, oh, like trees from the Amazon, like wood from the Amazon is gonna be taxed, right, and stuff like that. But the easiest answer would just be to like just pay these people to maintain it, pay them a maintenance fee.
So I believe, Jockey, it was you that mentioned the prison system, which is interesting because I got a book recently. I just started reading The New Jim Crow. I don't know if any of y'all heard of it, but
I've heard of it.
It's about how the prison system is the new Jim Crow and how they profiting off of incarceration and just like and third, but how black people or black men are tried or prosecuted the way they are, and then how certain prisoners get moved to certain private prisons, I believe. And I'm saying, and they're making money off of each prisoner. You care to
for-profit prisons.
Yeah, you should look at they talk about that in Orange Is the New Black.
So either one of y'all would like to elaborate or go down that rabbit hole?
Yeah, that piece of shit shouldn't exist, but it does because humans are fucking greedy.
Yeah,
that's as simple as it is. In a sense, each person there is going to profit off of another human's work. So we got to the point where our prison system profits off of the free labor of all these people's work from the crimes they've committed. It's absolutely ridiculous. And on top of that, our entire prison system isn't built on reforming. It's built on, in a sense, punishing. But when these people eventually have to come back into society, they have no idea what the fuck is going on. So not to mention we have that horrible ass prison system going on. We have absolutely nothing to help reform people into a society that everyone desperately wants to work. It's absolutely ludicrous. I've done papers on this shit, which is why it makes me so upset about how we treat our prison system. It is absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah, there's only one prison system I know that I like, and it's not, of course it's not here. It's not America at all. I think it's in Sweden?
It's either Sweden's or Norway's that has an immaculate prison system.
What happened, Kitty?
You asked which one it was. I told you.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so the one they have is they actually have their prisoners and they actually take them through to learn computer science or computer engineering or anything like that.
I've heard of that too.
They actually take them to go do interviews and talk to the people and everything like that. That's how you could, properly reform a prisoner. But, it's actually very beneficial. The person would get out, and then as I watched the little video on it, the person was just like, I'll probably hire him once he gets out. And, he progressed through life and everything like that. And it's really nice. So, but for our system, it just wouldn't work that way.
You need to also think about this, the purpose of the machine, right? So, this is let's say it's in the Netherlands, right? I actually met someone from the Netherlands, and we were talking about how, he pays, I think, almost 70% of his income because he makes a shit ton of money, in taxes, right? And he's telling me how, he thinks it's totally fucking worth it, right? In America, we have kind of almost the opposite thought. In America, we're just I want to make as much money as possible, and if it fucks over other people, who gives a shit? To someone like him, the idea of anyone being homeless is fucking horrifying, right? And to him, never seeing a homeless person, never feeling in danger, is worth 70% of his income, straight up. In America, it's bro, we're fucking angry because some place taxes you 10%, and so somewhere like the Netherlands, they're gonna make a prison system like that because they do care about the population being healthy. In America, you're just looking at greedy motherfuckers. The prison system here, it's kind of like Alex said, that thing is just a money machine. It's a money machine where it's it goes as far as judges will literally sentence people because they have a deal with the warden. Get the warden more prisoners. It's literally just people trying to make money, and it's money laundering in a certain way too, because that money is coming from the government to pay for the prisoners and stuff. It's just this would never happen in America, right? So the prison you described, that would never happen in America because the point is just to make money. It was never to help people. It's just not the purpose of the machine. The machine is doing exactly what it was built to do. It is to make money off of people getting in prison, and everything else is unfortunate side effects. Then, the fact that people come out of prison worse. A lot of times people come out of prison worse, or they come out kind of handicapped in a certain way. It's entirely unbeneficial.
Yeah, the times have passed them by.
Yeah. The only people who I've ever heard found a benefit to it were people who are homeless and complete unemployable. They get themselves arrested so they have food and shelter, and that's even more sad and fucked up. So yeah. I mean, this is by design, man. The prison system is fucked up the way it is. Ours is by design. It's not an accident. It's not a competence.
I don't remember who this conversation was with. It was a long time ago, I would like to think, but it was a probably distasteful joke. But how homeless people should just get arrested, like you said, just because then they won't be homeless. They'll get fed. They'll have showers.
No, they
they'll
do that.
get fed. They'll have housing. And like you said, they do that. But this is before that, though. May have been like, I don't know, so many years ago. But the common theme in all our podcasts is that America is shits.
No, it's not America. It's just people are shits.
Yeah.
Like there's when I was in Kuwait, you won't see no homeless people there. The reason why there's no homeless people there is because they just usually pick them up and then they shove them in a house and they be like, hey, you wake up at this time, pick up trash on the street. You get like 20 KD like a month. And that's like
I was just about to ask, how much is that? Like
$60.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
So is that not considered profiting? Like, what are they
Same shit?
Okay, so I thought so. No, I was trying to, the way it was in my head, I was trying to like reiterate it.
Yeah,
but
it is, like I said, it doesn't matter how you look at it. There's only a small handful of countries that like somewhat are not or just not bad. They're just not bad. That's the best way I can put it. They're just not bad. Still bad. I'm not gonna say they're not like, oh, they're great. No, they're still bad. But it's just there's a select few that are okay.
I mean, it's just it's very, very, very unfortunate to see or to feel or know that it is completely out of our hands to reverse that whole somebody really making top dollar off of my back, and I'm not seeing like not even half of the profit that they're making off of my back, and it's just unfortunate to see that. I was I don't know what I was hoping for, but I would like to think there would be a way out, but I'm going with y'all and saying like there's no, it's done.
There's no way out. Humans are leeches, literally.
Yeah.
And we just and everybody's like, oh, we need to find another, planet because this planet's running out of resources.
But then
you're just gonna do the same shit to the next planet. So I'm just like,
the planet isn't running out of resources. The planet isn't running out of resources. We're just fucking stupid. Of course we're
stupid, but we haven't gotten
the amount of energy
and everything like that yet.
I don't even need that. The amount of energy that comes from the sun alone, like, I forget exactly the numbers, but it's something like if you have if you took all the energy that came from the sun to just this planet, you could power like 2 or 3 more planets. Like, and when I mean power, I mean like including food, right? So like including like feeding everyone using that energy, feeding all the animals, all the plants, ocean life. Yeah. It's like, well, you can't profit off of it, but like if it's really a resource issue, it's just take the literal free energy from the sun. Like, do you remember that joke? It wasn't a joke, but like it was this guy was selling solar powered clothes dryers to people, and when people would buy it, he would ship them a hanging line and like little pincers, like a drying. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like I lost everyone there.
No, you
lost me. You definitely lost me.
It's just about hanging.
You know those lines? Yeah. And it's just like, that's a solar powered dryer. And it's pretty effective. It doesn't take that long to dry, especially if you live like somewhere with a lot of sunlight. It does not take that long to dry your clothes in the sun.
Actually, the best way to dry your clothes.
That's one of the best ways, yeah.
Yeah, because putting it in the dryer shrinks your clothes.
Yep, it shrinks it, it damages it. There's like the fibers get pulled out, whereas the sun's just like, oh, hey, water, let me just get rid of that for you. And it's great for like large objects. Like you can't dry your carpet in most dryers, but you can dry it in the sun, But yeah.
What was that, Kenny?
People are just hanging it up.
Oh, you lost me again. God damn. I'm all thrown
Dang, Doctor, you so uncultured.
Apparently so.
But yeah, so it's greed is the problem, and
it's unfortunate. Very.
Unfortunately, greed just keep going. It gets pushed to the next generation, next generation, next generation. It just keeps going. So there's no way to honestly stop it.
And then, did you say that in a way? I mean, I was gonna say something stupid, but
say it. I want to hear it.
No, I was gonna take a poke at Alex. I said, whoever when he got his dope boy monitor, some poor people made that.
Oh yeah,
and they don't see a lick of the profit of Alex buying that dope boy monitor that he got. So you're contributing to profiteering, poverty pimping indirectly.
I look directly at your soul.
Yeah, he not for my shit right now. But yeah. So all jokes aside, though, we're stuck. We're here. Either we can try to claw our way out of it, or not.
So there are kind of like in betweens. Like there's certain things. So we do have like some sense of options. So, and I'm referring to like people in this room, metaphorical. There are some options. Like you can still just like, do things as ethically as you can, right? We could still, for example, decide like, all right, let's just like go to another country and like start like an apartment complex and like keep all of our remote American dollar paying jobs and maybe just like hire a bunch of people at like a good living wage for their country and just like start a village. Right? I'm amazed more Americans don't do shit like that. Eventually, though, like it would fuck up the economy because like it would slowly just increase the price of things. But still amazed no one's trying that.
Well, also there's a fact of when you do that, we don't have the right to own shit outside the U.S., which doesn't help. But on top of that is that depending on where you go, somebody might just come over there and just fuck that shit up, just to fuck it up because they're not getting a profit from it. So it's I understand what you're saying. I get it 100%. But the problem is, back to the main thing, is people are shitty. And that's it. So it's just like if we all decided, be like, hey, we're just gonna like say like we just cut down these trees, right? Say we're in the States, we cut down these trees, we build up an apartment area or something like that, and just make affordable housing or something like that for some people, and we live in it, to watch it and stuff like that. Somebody gonna come knocking on manager Alex door. Hey, can we get like some of that? Just nah, we're doing this on our own. Well, we're just gonna tear this. This land is owned by XYZZZ, and then they're just demolish.
Oh, damn! Sound like colonizers.
They're just throw bricks at. They're just gonna throw bricks at the window at some point too. Like
so
should happen too. Like it's
nothing you really can do. It's just you just gotta live the best life and be as positive as you can be, and that is literally about it.
Yeah, there's no hope, but do the best you can.
Yeah, it's like I'll be giving people some generous tips because I know it's hard out there for them. So I just be like, "Hey, bro, here you go."
Yeah, I tip like I'm a fucking maniac.
I'm like, "There you go, bro." I know it's hard,
But do the best you can. Alex, you all right, man?
I've been at odds again about this entire everything. So the first thing, obviously, is just like how frustrating it is to understand the prison system, why it is the way it is, and just not having any power really to change that. And, coming to terms with that with a lot of things. More importantly, on the tipping side, that entire scheme of paying your workers below minimum wage because tips will make up needs to be destroyed as soon as, whenever it started. I'm a huge component of destroying and tearing down everything so that we can create something new again. The issue I have with tipping people well and things like that isn't saying we shouldn't tip people well or they shouldn't be worth that amount of money. It's the fact that this shouldn't be happening anyway. So when we get to the point where people leave this industry, they'll be forced to change it. And that was another hope of COVID when obviously all these restaurants closed and things started to change. Then instead of paying their workers, they then decided to say, these are now mandatory tips. which is the most ludicrous shit I've ever fucking seen before in my life for a service that you're already supposed to provide.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I never even heard of
Yes.
that.
No. You have to read the fine print because they don't tell you it's in the fine print. It's the same way as if in some places use a credit card and they charge you a service fee. And like, bitch, this is making your life easier. You're charging me more money for your convenience.
So I see that the whole prison system really like bothers you. I mean, and as it should, rightfully so. I'm not saying you're wrong in that, but I'm just surprised
there are certain things
in this world
that I pretty much consider like this is pure and true evil. There are certain things I hold into that regard, and the prison system is one of those things where I hold it into full authority. This is pure fucking evil.
Yeah, rightfully so.
And you are coming to terms staring at evil right in its fucking face. And there's not a damn thing you can do to snuff it out.
Rightfully, yeah.
And I hate it so much because it affects so many fucking people on this planet. And there's not a damn thing they can do about it. Because any method to get out of it involves money. You want a good lawyer? Guess what? That involves money. You want to not be in that situation and potentially bribe someone out? Guess what? That involves money. The reason you're probably in this situation to begin with, because someone else wanted money out of you. Free labor. Even the crimes that we have on the books and the punishments for them are absolutely ludicrous. Like, for example, let's take speeding, for example. There's like, oh, you just have to pay XYZ fine, and then that's all. I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous. What if someone makes, and this is one of the biggest issues, like, what if someone's a fucking $500,000? Why the fuck would he care about paying $500? He'll just speed everywhere.
Oh, they don't. No. The way those people think about that stuff is like, so you get like a parking fine. To them, it's like, oh, it just costs $200 to park here.
Exactly.
It's not even like a fine.
It's not a fine. Exactly. But that's why the entire notion of saying that like our punishment system shouldn't involve money because it's inherently discriminatory against people like us. Because we're not the ones that have money. So people that do have that money don't see it in the same light as a consequence. They just see it as, oh, this is a little inconvenient, but I'll park here anyway.
Yeah, so speaking on that, so since I've been here in New Orleans, right, I've gotten tickets. I've gotten speeding tickets. I've got, no, not speeding tickets. Just tickets, traffic tickets in general. Yeah, so what I've noticed and what I highly disagreed with, almost to the same extent as Alex with the prison system, is that, so like you said, Alex, you get a ticket, right? You go to court. They tell you what the fine is. Then they literally tack on fee after fee after fee after fee after fee to where $100 ticket turns into like $300, $400. And God forbid you can't pay that. Right? So then
a lot of people can't.
Right. Like
half of America probably can't.
It's actually quite surprising how fast you get put in jail for a reckless, or how long you're in jail for a reckless driving ticket. Mm-hmm. I almost got put in the pen because of reckless driving ticket. He was like, the judge said, if you was two more over that speed limit, I would have put you in jail for 6 months. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Like I seen
in that category, and I took a suspension instead. And I was like, this is absolutely insane what we put people in prison for here in the United States.
Right. So I remember I went to a courthouse, and the guy. So the way it was set up, it was just eerie anyway. But we was just standing in line. The judge was just handing out whatever to the people. The guy, and I was like, damn. I hope I'm never in this situation. The man went up to the judge. The judge was like, yeah, you haven't paid a ticket. It's like let's say it's 2018. You haven't paid a ticket since 2014. What happened? The man was like, he hadn't had a job. I don't know if it's his fault or not, but he didn't have a job or whatever situation he was in. He was like, oh, you're going to jail. Arrest him. I'm like, this is traffic court. This is traffic court. I was like, this is crazy. So it's like, so on the other side of that, I had I'm not a criminal, but I had a criminal charge, right? Long story short.
You're a criminal.
So it was.
You're slinging that crap, bro?
No. So it was the charge was resisting arrest with violence, right? but then it got turned into an ordinance to where it was then interfering with an officer, right? So it's a misdemeanor regardless, but it's a lesser misdemeanor as interfering with an officer. I mean, because that could be interpreted as just walking in his way where he's trying to arrest somebody, I guess. I don't fucking know. Anyway, so if you wanted it expunged, do you know how much money that is? That's hundreds of dollars to get a misdemeanor expunged from your record. And in the process, the system, like Alex said, the system is all so fucked up that you can't afford to pay these tickets. So then if you can't pay these tickets, you get thrown in jail. And then when you get thrown in jail, that's more fines and fees because you taking up space in a holding cell. And then you gotta go back to court, and that's more fines and fees, and they just keep tacking it on. You can't expect people who in low income neighborhoods or in housing to ever dig themselves out that hole. I feel like it's irrelevant if it's their fault or not, why they can't hold a job or whatever. It's just the fact, like Alex said, the system, they stack it up against you to put you back and make more money off of you. Poverty pimping.
Yes. What's the other? Me and I just watched a documentary on one jail system. I think it was, or court system. I think it was in Japan. They shit is wild. They was it 99%?
They have I think a 99% conviction rate. Yeah.
They shit is wild.
So if you get hemmed up, you hemmed up.
Yeah, man. Like, this is why it's such a huge deal, especially for Americans who travel abroad. It's like, dude, you better look to where you're going, because the moment you step foot on that soil, that's it. You belong to their set of rules, not ours. Not everywhere is as kind as us. Even though we're complaining about our jail system's ridiculous, at least you get fed. At least you got showers, books. You can work out.
Yeah, I told one of my boys he was going to Dominican Republic, and I was just like, he was like, yeah, I've never been to Dominican Republic. I was like, cool. Read their laws. And he was just like, is it like that? I was like, doesn't matter. Read their laws. And he was just like, I'm gonna go do that. And he went to go read. He came back to me. He was like, bro, I didn't know some things was like that. I was like, you should do that with every country you go to.
Place you go to, especially if you're going alone, you don't have a guide or anything like that.
I learned the greed of Dominican Republic when I was with Julius all them years ago, and I saw it in action, and my mind was blown.
Bro, sex sells over there in that. Yeah.
Country. It blew my mind on how, like, people greedy, corrupt. Greed corrupts people. This, then, and third. You know what I'm saying? It sucks.
Not even like, yeah, but I had some good time though.
I mean, no, of course not. I have no idea. There was a nice beach and the waters was blue, and that's all I can really say about that. But I'd like to welcome Princess Nubia to the podcast in the chat.
But yeah, it's don't air. And Alice told me yesterday that people getting their passports and going to other countries, and it's mostly African American males going to other countries and acting a goddamn fool, and it's not a good thing in the slightest. So
you said in Japan it was a 99.9 conviction rate. So I'm assuming they're making money off of those prisoners too, right? It's the same thing, or is it here?
I think they are, but the thing is that you got to understand how Japan is in general. They are so squeaky clean when it comes to certain things there. When that dude in that subway stabbed those people in Japan, I was devastated because that shit don't happen. And the same thing when a dude pulled out a gun in Japan, devastated. That shit doesn't happen. If it happens here, I'm just like, man. But over there in Japan, you're just like, what? That happened? And I think there was another one, the guy happened in Thailand was it?
Mm-hmm.
Where all those kids in the daycare got killed.
26 people.
26 people got killed.
Ex-police officer killed 26 people. Out of the 26, I believe 16 of them were children.
Yeah.
And then after he was done doing that at the daycare, he then went home, killed his wife. I think he killed I'm trying to remember if he had a son or a daughter and killed them too. Then he killed himself.
Yeah, that's devastating. That stuff doesn't happen.
Oh, yeah, regardless, that's wild anywhere. That's wild in the United States anywhere.
Yeah, of course, that's wild everywhere. But you still, you put in the fact of how those countries are and how they are with their people. It's still just kind of shocking. It's shocking here, yeah, but it's just like,
less so.
Yeah, it's shocking here, but it's still, but yeah. So
nothing shocking in New York.
Yeah, so it's just like 99% conviction rate. You gotta look at how Japan is and how their culture and everything like that. You can easily stay out of that conviction rate if you just don't do nothing stupid.
Yeah, if you don't go outside.
No, not even that. If you just
don't be stupid.
Just don't do nothing stupid
Outside.
It's the simplest things. Yeah, outside. Yeah, don't do nothing stupid outside. But it's the simplest thing. Like if my boys over there, like people don't steal that often there, and it's just like if someone says, "Hey, we're missing something. Can I like check you or something?" Just let the person check you. Just let them check you, because if you fight against it, 99% of the chance you're gonna be in that jail, even if you didn't steal anything.
Yeah, that's always been yeah. Every time somebody put up a fight about how they stole a Kit Kat or something out of Dollar Tree, it's like, yo, just
you know what? Here, dog. Want me to take my clothes off? Here you go.
Well, so Princess Nubia said nothing shocks her anymore. She blamed the hood. I can relate to that statement, low key. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, that made me chuckle.
I don't know.
But
you've seen some shit.
Wait, so would anybody like to add any closing remarks?
Okay, actually, there's something I've been pondering this whole time. Why don't they just like, so instead of like so keep the whole idea of like, everyone who lives in prison like brings money to the warden. But instead of saying you're criminals there, why don't you just convert prisons into like a kind of like a homeless shelter of a sort, where it's like, huh?
I would say convert prisons into schools
or homeless shelters. Okay, so the reason why I was going the homeless route was, wouldn't that be just a great solve, right? Because it's like, they get food, bedding, shelter, space to exercise, potential education, and you still get like your money.
What?
I know, but I'm.
No, I feel like that would lead to overpopulation.
No, that's not even the case. All right, let me.
Okay.
I hate this because higher education did this to me, specific classes I took. And I'm so happy I was able to go into the greatest class I've ever taken, which was United States government history, and actually like debate against a lot of these things. You know why something like that would never happen, Jock? Or why something like us lowering our spending on military would never work? Because all you would have to say is, you would say, all right, I brought up this budget, it costs XYZ amount to change and convert our prison system into a better blah, blah, blah for homeless people, right? You're going to have people say, well, those people committed crimes and are there for a reason. Why should I give my hard-earned money to help them out when I'm in need?
People.
How do you come back from that? What's your political rebuttal to that with people who haven't committed crimes and they're still struggling now?
I mean,
I had a flash of thought.
And then in the debate stage, that's it. That's the exact same reason for military spending being out of run, because what they'll say to you is, you're like, man, we spend 10 times more than any other country. And they're going to repeat back to you. They're going to say, yeah, we're safer than any other country. Why would you want to put our military vets in the front line at any danger or threat because we're not funding them appropriately?
Yeah, that's the...
How do you combat against that?
Yeah,
in the masses, that's the issue.
I had combat I talked to my sister about that, and she was like, "We spent too much money on the military," and I'd be like, "Well, you're able to do all the stuff you're doing now specifically because of them."
Yeah, because we have a strong ass military. Because we have the world's strongest military. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like, yes,
exactly.
Goes to them, but you're able to drive and live a free life and freedom specifically because of them.
Yeah. Because the thing is, no one here is going to be willing to sacrifice, to give up anything to make someone else's life better if they don't see anything from it.
Right. Okay. So I want an opportunity to rebuttal the first one, not the military one, because it's actually my argument to keep spending.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one, I'm gonna quote that guy from the Netherlands I met. He's like, "Look, it's just fucking depressing and an eyesore to just see people like on the streets. It's frustrating when like, you know, you're walking and like they're begging or harassing you. Sometimes like you're walking alone and it's just creepy." And his thing is just like, it is so worth it to just put some money so that shit does not happen. Right? And so that would be the argument. It's like, yeah, you know, when you're walking downtown and like you have to like walk over a homeless person who's sleeping, yeah, you'd never have to do that anymore. Oh, you know, when like someone like tweaked out walks up to you and like asks you for money and you're not sure if you're gonna get stabbed or not, yeah. You know, when you want to go to like, you know, like the 2 a.m. like run to the Walgreens, yeah, there's not gonna be someone there like, you know, harassing you. You know? And it's like, is that not worth something?
No, it's not.
So the thing is, yeah.
Well, tough shit, Jock. I guess your idea is not going to work.
So
I was like, I think that's good for shit ton of money. I would love to never have to.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, the thing is that you're referring to here in this country as the United States. We are probably one of the most spoiled people. So we're not going to give off anything to help mostly anybody doing anything. So probably in other places that would work, but for say here, nah, that shit ain't gonna happen, Captain.
The ironic part about what Jock said though is that I don't feel comfortable unless I see a crackhead loitering in front of a 7-Eleven.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's so ingrained in our society and our culture now that
like real shit. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, Dante doesn't say that forever. I'm just saying, that's his.
No, I was saying that to Jock, because Jock was just like joked out, but
yeah.
No, I'm trying to figure out if you're serious. Like,
I'm dead ass.
Yeah,
like,
that's serious. Yeah, that's
it's normal now in the.
It's normal for me.
Yeah,
it's normal for me. I'm pretty sure for Heather, it's probably normal for Heather as well.
Yeah, for instance, a crackhead be yelling outside your window.
Yeah,
like it's abnormal for it to be so quiet where we're at. She's not used to that.
No, but like, if you could trade that out for not having that,
bro,
would you not? Like, wait, what?
People, dog, they wouldn't. No. They gonna keep all their money in their pocket.
Yeah,
and still have the crackhead out the window?
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, though, people do. Well, yeah. Well, this is what you're not understanding, Jock. When people have that money, they just move. That's literally what happens. They leave.
And eventually, the crackhead gonna die.
It doesn't fucking matter where you move. No, wait,
it
what?
Does too matter. Think about it. Okay, so yes, first eventually they'll die, and then there won't be a crackhead there. So
there's gonna be another one to replace that one.
Exactly. There's always gonna be an influx of crackheads.
No, there's gonna come up.
Oh my god. But yeah, but I'm saying, like, when people have that money, they eventually move and leave. They have the ability to do that. That's the point we're making.
But like these problems. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a couple of stories, right? So I've been to a couple of those like really nice cities and stayed at those really nice places. Literally, in downtown Los Angeles, there is a luxury hotel. You step out of that hotel. You do not finish the block. You round the building. The next building is a tent city. So like literally, like it's not. It doesn't matter where you go. It will unless you go to like one of those completely gated villages. Like, but the second you leave, the second you go to do anything, the second you go to a bar, the second you go like wherever, like it's everywhere. Like you can't run from this.
So
like
actually, hold on. You know the number one problem. Okay, so you like to live in cities because of how the life is, right?
Yeah.
I fucking hate cities. I don't have to deal with that shit. So, I will not move to a city because I don't want to deal with that, and because I'm not in a city, I really don't have to deal with a motherfucking crackhead or a homeless person. Only time I see a crackhead or a homeless person is when I drive to the city. So
in combination with what Kenny said, like I said again, I'm dead ass serious. When if I don't see a crackhead, I'm like paranoid. Like, why is it so quiet over here? Like every crack, like contrary to what people may think.
Every crack.
You're breaking our buddy here.
Every crackhead does not bother you.
They don't.
Like, they
really
don't. Like, I knew. I think I said in Alice's Discord, it was a crackhead. Like his name was Mike. Where when I looked around the fairgrounds, that man was cool.
Like Mike.
That man was cool as fuck. Like he was the coolest crackhead I've ever seen in my life. He'll help you out. He will help you if you like. Hey, Mike, come help me with this real quick. All right, I'm coming, and then he'll come over all hunched over and do the best he could. So
the funny thing is, if you actually sit down and actually talk to a homeless person, they actually have some pretty bad stories on how they got the way they are now. It's just a bundle of unfortunate fucking events that they ran into. So it's like I said, you live in a city, so you see more crackheads and homeless people than I do. I don't see that because I live in the damn near suburbs.
You're definitely in the suburbs. There ain't no damn near.
Yeah, I live in the suburbs. I'm not dealing with.
I want to say, you saw a crackhead just now.
I thought it was James, but no, I'm living in the suburbs. So what you're dealing with is the reason why I don't like the city. I do not like the city, and it's not mainly because of crackheads or anything like that. It's because I'm fine with the homeless people and stuff like that. It's because of the people in the city are the worst people, and I just want to choke them and punch them in the mouth because they are so uptight and so self-centered.
That's interesting.
I'm trying not to feel targeted.
To summarize that whole point, though, sometimes crackheads are good, John.
Crack is good.
I'm just saying.
The podcast is obliged to listen. I do not condone the usage of crack.
Be open. No, just be open-minded to crackhead. Like, just sit down, buy a crackhead a Slurpee or something, and just have a conversation with him. I'm pretty sure he will fucking enlighten you with his life. I promise.
Favorite crackhead story.
This is this whole podcast took a weird turn. To,
I'm
like, where are we going with this?
I'm about to make it weirder. Give me 2 fucking minutes. Okay, so my favorite story with a crackhead. There was this one by 7-Eleven actually, and he would just kind of like be there and hang out. Not much of it. One day, like I'm having kind of like a rough day, had a rough night, and I'm walking to the 7-Eleven to just like. I actually forgot what I was going to do at the 7-Eleven. I think I was going to buy something. Anyway, so I'm walking. It's going to be like 6 a.m. or something. Yeah, it's like 6 a.m. or something. And, I'm just like out of it and just faded and upset. And I get to the 7-Eleven. And the crackhead that's usually there is there at the door, butt naked, dancing.
I love it. Fantastic.
Sensational. Yelling that he will not be stopped. And he's just like, I will not be stopped.
I will not be stopped.
Butt naked, dick swinging and everything. Ashy as fuck.
Golly.
And the best part is the 7-Eleven clerk is inside the 7-Eleven. And because you can see him like inside and he's just sitting there, just praying, waiting for the cops to show up. And that is my favorite crackhead story because instantly my day was better. I was just like, you know what? I'm having a rough day. And as much as I can empathize with this man getting butt naked and dancing in front of 7-Eleven saying he will not be stopped, I'm not having that day. So
yeah, you could be the guy in front of a 7-Eleven,
Sometimes,
butt ass naked,
yeah.
screaming he would not be stopped with your,
Yeah, I was
your,
trying to
with,
deal
your
with-
with your shit just swinging.
Just
Alex had
swinging.
to deal with a crackhead 2 weeks ago.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah, that red dot. We want to stop our red dot. Alex said, I might be dead.
What the fuck?
I don't even want to recall that one. I just moved on with my life.
All right, well, I gotta get my package off the neighbor's doorstep. So
Yeah, just bring a cracker with
What's
you,
up?
just in case.
But thank you for talking about profit. I mean, damn. Okay, poverty, profiteering, poverty pimping, and our most recent crackhead experiences on this podcast. It like the last
That's
20 minutes has been
the
about
name of the
crackheads.
podcast. That's the name of the podcast.
Yeah, the
Our
crackhead
most recent
talk.
crackhead experience.
We talked about how the prison system is the worst thing on mankind, and we also talk about crackheads. Stay tuned. Yeah. Yeah, that's how we get views. Talk about crackheads. Anyway, yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Princess Nubia, for tuning in and offering your insight on your how you viewpoint poverty, profiteering.
I need to read this actually.
But yeah. So, oh, by the way, the Blerd Talk podcast is streaming on all platforms, bro. Got to get that out.
In the stream, let me go free.
All right.
Done.